Hello. Good morning, everybody. Let me introduce myself as Kiran Kumar Ambadasu, having 5 years of real-time experience in Splunk and 15 years of overall experience. Okay, this is in short about me. So, when it comes to today's agenda, actually, we will be discussing what is Splunk, okay, what is machine-generated data, types of machine-generated data, okay, where Splunk can be used, why Splunk, where actually Splunk can be used, who use Splunk in organization, actually, who are the persons actually who is using Splunk in organization. Next, Splunk GUI also will be discussing. Splunk GUI also will be showing you. Okay. Use case of Splunk. Jobs in Splunk. And Splunk certifications. Okay, these are all the things we will be discussing today. Okay, so these are all the 10 things we'll be discussing today in the today workshop. And now, have you ever heard the terms logging tool? Okay, similarly, SIEM tool. SIEM, anybody knows SIEM? What is SIEM? Can anybody tell what is SIEM? The same is security information and event management tool. Okay, same is security information and event management tool. Next, infrastructure management tool. Similarly, application monitoring tool. If you go on saying like that, okay, even reporting tool. Have you ever heard all these things? So these are all the names that are called for this Splunk in the market actually. Okay, these are all the names that are called for Splunk in the market. So whatever the name you give to Splunk, Splunk does only one thing. What is that? It converts log files into structured data. What is that? It converts log files into structured data. So even though reporting tool, Splunk does more than the reporting tool, but some people will be calling it as reporting tool as well. But Splunk, whatever the name we call for Splunk, Splunk will be converting log files into machine generated data. So again you ask, what is log files? So log files are nothing but these are the machine generated files. Okay, log files are nothing but machine generated files. What are machine generated files again? The operations and the events and the activities that are performed on the machine will be stored in a separate files. Okay, these are called as the machine generated files or the log files. What are those? The operations that are performed on a particular machine, or the activities or the events that are performed on the machine, these are called as the log files. For example, if you have a say in a programming language like PHP, if you have a web page, if you have a website, okay, if you have a website, so whatever the operations and the activities or the events that are performed on this website, on the particular web page, okay, so all those things will be storing in a web server. Okay, all those things will be storing in a web server. So whatever the action you do, if you open the website in the first place, again the log files will be storing in the web server. Okay, if you click on the button, the log files will be storing in a web server. Okay, so whatever the action you perform, all these things will be storing in the web server as log files. Okay, so these are the log files. So like this, whatever the operations and the activities that are performed on the website will be storing into these log files in the web server. Okay, this is not only for PHP. Actually, whatever the programming language you take, in PHP it will be stored in the Apache web server. Okay, in PHP it will be stored in the Apache web server, whereas if you take .NET, it will be stored in the IIS web server. If you take Java again, it will be stored in Tomcat web server, like that. So this is one thing actually. So log files,
सब एक एक रिपोर्टिंग देते हैं और हमको बोलते हैं कि तुम नहीं बताओ.
what is that?
मेरे घर पे कौन सा रिपोर्टिंग की हो आज तक?
Reporting tool, yeah, Splunk is also called as the reporting tool actually.
एक ही बार फ्लैश मैसेज मारते हैं, चारों तरफ पब्लिश करते हैं.
That's what.
हम क्यों
So
नहीं?
it is more beyond than the reporting
तुम
tool
हमको
actually. They are
रोक
more capable.
पब्लिश करने से अपने घर पे. हम तो अधिकतर अपने माँ बाप से बताते हैं.
Excuse me.
हम कोई बात मन करेगा बताएंगे, हमको मालूम है किससे बात करना है, नहीं करना है.
Excuse me, can you mute, guys? Don't mess up in call.
I do not have a mute option.
Sir, can you unmute for all?
I want to mute that particular candidate. I do not have the option. Okay, anyhow. So I have to call the people. I got Durga Soft people, and then I have to ask them. I do not have the option over here. It is not getting unmuted for all. So okay, let us see. If again something happens, then I will call them actually. Otherwise, time will be wasted, right? So web servers will be generating log files, right? Web servers will be generating log files. So apart from web servers, we have got several other things as well. Say for example, operating systems. Okay, operating systems will also generate log files. Again, devices like routers, okay, switches. Okay, so what basically the machine which consists of a software, okay, whatever the software may be, even it may not be a big thing actually, even if it consists of chip, whatever a machine which consists of software will generate log files. So the web servers, operating systems, or routers, or switches, or even your application, your mobile applications like Facebook, okay, WhatsApp, will all these things will be generating log files. So what does our Splunk do? Our Splunk does, it converts the logs files into structured data, into a meaningful data. Okay, what is meaningful data again? It converts into rows and columns. Okay, it converts into rows and columns. So how we can define the Splunk now? A Splunk, we can define Splunk as a Splunk is a software which searches, analyzes, and visualizes machine generated data into structured data. Splunk is a software which searches, analyzes, and visualizes machine generated data into structured data. So this is what our Splunk does. Okay, so right now you say, okay Kiran, you are saying that Splunk will be converting the log files or the machine generated files into structured files. Okay, so why they need to convert the log files at all? In the first place, actually we are already having several databases. We are already having sophisticated databases like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, all those databases we are having. And also apart from that, we are also having NoSQL databases also today. Okay, even there won't be any structure for them. Actually, whatever the application we have, we can design accordingly, right? So these are the this kind of databases we have. But still, why we should go for the machine generated data or for the log files? If we have the question, then I will have the answer for that. Say for example, there is a developer in the organization. Okay, he is writing some code. So for suppose he's placing some videos where the videos placed in that particular website. Okay, but the videos are available in the another server, not on the same server but on the another server. So he is providing the URLs. Okay, hyperlink will provide, right? So he is providing the hyperlinks for the particular videos, so that the videos, if the end user clicks on that one, that video will be played. So now everything is good, he has put that and he has completed that. Okay, after some days, or to that matter after some months, what happened? The videos where the where that has been put on another server, the server went down. Now the videos will play, they won't play, right? And again, the development team knows that they cannot know, because even the developer also, he won't check the code daily, right? So once he will be writing the code, and after once it is testing, he will be moving to the other things. So he won't check, right? Who will knows? Only the end user who clicks on that particular video. If that is not playing, then he only knows that, and he escalates the problem. So again, in the organization, if the end user escalates the problem, it's a bad thing, right? So in order to avoid such kind of situations, if you connect that particular web server to the Splunk environment, to our Splunk environment, our Splunk will be monitoring that web servers, and it can easily identify with the status. See, if the web page is working properly, it will get a status of 200, right? If it is not working properly, it getting a status other than 200, whatever it may be, 400, 500, 404, like that, different statuses will be getting. So that status, based on status, it will be producing an alert. Okay, it will be producing an alert where the Splunk developer can be sending emails or some tickets like that, whatever it may be. So he will be passing on information to the development team, so that the development team can be alerting and they will be rectifying the problem. Now the life of the developers has become easy or not? There is no need to get escalated from the end user, right? So now their life has become easy. So this is one thing. Okay, I will tell you another example as well. For suppose you are browsing some e-commerce site like Amazon or Flipkart. Okay, for suppose you do not have a login ID and password, you have not registered over there, but still you can search, right? But still you are searching for some shirts, right? Nowadays 3D design shirts are famous, so you are searching for that type of shirts actually. Okay, you have not bought anything, but you are simply scrolling the page. You are simply scrolling the page and you are searching. Okay, so you have noticing all the price tags over there. You are click on different models available in that particular Amazon. Okay, so you are seeing everything like some 15 minutes like that, and after that you have closed the website, right? So tomorrow morning again, if you have opened another website, okay, if you have opened another website, the things which you have searched in Amazon yesterday pertaining to those shirts and all, those shirts will pop up as ads in the other website. Is it correct or not? So how is it happening? So they will be popped up as ads in the other website. So how is it happening? It happens because through the log files, because of the log files generated. Because even though if you do not do anything, even though if you scroll, if you have clicked over there, right, you have scrolled and clicked on some items, so some log files have been generated for that, and then they have captured your IP address. First of all, they have captured your IP address, and based on that they have analyzed whatever you have searched and whatever you have clicked on, all those things. Okay, and then they have noticed that you have got interested in that particular things actually, in those 3D printed t-shirts, and then they have shown you the ads in the other website also. Now they come with an offer. Now they shows that some offer is going on there. Now you will get tempted and go to the website and you will buy the shirts or not shirts. Is it correct or not? See how much useful for that business. So it is very, very useful for the business to grow, right? To grow for them. So this is the thing. So in this way it will be useful actually. So why you should use, if you ask why you should use these log files and all, so you can use the log files and you can use the Splunk in this manner, so that your things can be grown up. Okay, now you say that, okay Kiran, this is fine. So again, where to use these log files actually? So where to use this Splunk? In which areas we have to use this Splunk? Okay, so if you ask that question, then I will say that everywhere it can be useful. If you take a banking sector, it is useful. If you take finance sector, it is useful. If you take infrastructure, it will be useful. And technology, of course, obviously it is useful. And even in education sector, it is useful. In government sectors also it is useful. Where nowadays you tell me where data is not growing. So wherever there is a big data, there will be Splunk. Please do remember this. Wherever there is big data, there will be Splunk. And some people say that actually, so tomorrow Splunk will be there or not in the market. So tomorrow, see, Splunk is the leader. Okay, Splunk is the leader in the logging tools. Okay, so there is nothing to beat Splunk, at least for 5 years. That is one thing. So in the worst case, if another tool also came and if it is growing beyond Splunk, then Splunk also sit idle, right? Splunk won't sit idle. It will be it will be aggressive. It will become aggressive, and it will also bring in new things, right? Right now Splunk is very aggressive, and if you see Splunk, every month they are making something new things. The version by version it is getting changed. That much aggressive it is. Even in SIMA also, it has become a top competitor for IBM QRadar. Okay, not only for logging tools, ELK, Logstash, and all those kinds of things are there, right? Not only it has crossed all those things, but even in the SIEM also, it is putting its step forward. So this is the aggressiveness of Splunk. So no need to fear about that. So at least for 5 years, it will be on the top. Okay. So coming back to the thing actually, so these are the areas where we use Splunk actually. So everywhere it is useful. For example, if you consider an institute, so if you join in core Java, what they will do, they will take your email address and phone number, right? So and again they will once after completing the course, they will delete those details. No, because that will be useful for their information, right? So that will be useful for their information. So tomorrow, if advanced Java and they launch, then they will call and say that you can join this course, so that it will be helpful. So like that, even the institutes will save the data like that. Then consider about the giants in the organization. Okay, so even e-commerce giants or some other things, some other MNCs. So what they will be having data growing like that, right? So they won't lose the data. So the data, as the data will be there, Splunk will be there. So in this way, Splunk will be useful everywhere. Okay, and again, if you say that whether it is useful in small organizations or whether it is useful in large organizations, it is useful in both the things. It is useful in small organizations as well as for large organizations as well. For example, in small organizations, even in the non-IT organizations as well. Okay, in the non-IT organizations also, for example, consider you are a CEO of an organization where 10 employees are there. So if you want to monitor whatever what is the work they are doing on a daily basis, or what are they doing in the office hours. Okay, so how will you monitor them? Can you monitor them physically? You cannot do that, right? Nobody will be in the office if you go and see like that, right? So nobody work for you. So that is one thing. Okay, so even if you have CC cameras also, they will be having only they will be you can know whether the particular person is at his seat or not. Okay, but not whatever the actual thing he is seeing, he cannot see over there. Correct or not? Even I have seen some people where they will be putting the where they will be minimizing the screens to the one fourth of the inches above the taskbar. Then they'll be viewing the screens actually. Okay, this kind of people. So all those things we cannot identify with the naked eye actually. So now if you install Splunk in their missions, they need not even know that. Okay, if you install Splunk in their missions, now if you can sit in your place and you can see it. Okay, you can sit in your place and in your screen you can monitor all those activities. For example, say if you come across an event, Facebook, from machine A, from so and so machine A for so and so time, then what does it mean? The person at the machine A has used the Facebook for that particular amount of time, right? Similarly, if we come across another event from machine B, saying that he has some YouTube event has come, that means what? He has viewed YouTube, so that you can you can monitor them actually. So even in small organizations also, in non-IT organizations, it will be useful like that, right? So, and again, big organizations, we need not say, we already seen. And again, let me tell this actually. Not now actually, around 2 to 3 years back, have you ever faced this problem? If you go to the e-commerce site again, so when you have placed an order, the order will not be placed, but the amount has been cut. Have you ever faced the problem? Anyone can respond, please. Hello? Anyone can respond. Have you ever faced the problem? Okay. You are not able to talk, or what? 1 minute, please. I will call. Are you able to unmute yourself? Hello, anybody can respond, so that I will be speaking to the management. Hello. Hello. You are not able to respond? 1 minute, I will speak to the management.
Sir, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. So you are able to unmute, right? That's what I'm asking to respond.
Yes,
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, we are
But
able
before
to.
it is
Yeah.
not possible.
That's what I have spoke with the management. Okay, right. So right, that is the thing. So earlier, if you speak to the customer care about the thing that the order has not been placed, but the amount has been cut. Okay, you will be speaking with the customer care, right? If you come across that problem, you will be speaking with the customer care. So at that particular point in time, what that does customer care person say? He will say that it will be taking around 3 to 7 days time, right? It will be taking around 3 to 7 days time. Even if for banking operations and all, they will say some 10 days time. Okay, this is I am talking about some 3 to 4 years back. Nowadays it is happening somewhat quick. Okay, especially in these e-commerce sites. Nowadays it is getting you are getting if the order has not, if even if your amount has been cut, you are getting quickly actually. But in the earlier days, actually 2 to 3 years back, it was not happening like that. Some 3 to 7 days time it was taking. So why it was taking like that? Why it is taking like that? Because whenever you tell your problem to the customer care, what does that customer care person does? He takes your query and gives it to the development team. Okay, the development team then it will search they will search the code. Okay, then they will search the code and finds themselves and finds that okay, there is no problem in the code. Okay, there is no problem from our side, so there is no problem, and they will send that to the next one to the testing team. Okay, they will send it to the testing team. The testing team again check this code. Okay, already we have tested, and again there is no problem in that one, so from our side there is no problem. And again they will go to the deployment team actually. So deployment team means what? The team leader will be there, right? Who deploys all the files, whatever the codes that have been tested, and he deploys all the files. So they will again give to him. He again checks whether all the files have been deployed or not, whether any file has been missed or not. So he again checks all those things. So again okay, after checking, then he finds that there is no problem. So again that will be go to the database thing actually. So again in the database like that, they will be checking each and every department, they will be goes and checking. That's why it will be taking time. And finally, even in the database also, if everything is good, then they will come to a conclusion that the problem is with the actually with the customer at that particular point in time, due to some networking issue or some other thing, and the order has not been placed, but the amount has been cut. Okay, then they will be checking the database. Okay, on that particular day, if the inventory is like that only, on that particular day, if the inventory has not been cut and some amount has been generated for them. Okay, if the inventory has not been cut and some amount has been generated, then then it is clear, right? Then it is clear that the amount has generated for them. Then they will come to the conclusion that the customer, whatever the customer is saying is correct, and then they will revert it back. Okay, so this is the procedure. In order to complete all this procedure, it was taking so much time. But if you connect to our Splunk, actually, if you connect to our Splunk, so what are the things that are available? What are the things we are taught? the development team, right? That is nothing but web server. Okay. So once it will go to the development team, that is nothing but web server. Okay. So similarly, the testing team, that is nothing but test server. So these are all involved, right? And again, what is the thing? Deployment server, right? Deployment server. And what is the other thing? Database server. So if all these servers have been connected to a centralized location, that is nothing but our Splunk environment. What is that? Splunk. If all these servers have been connected to our Splunk environment, which is centralized location, so this web server is connected to our Splunk. Okay. This testing server is also connected to our Splunk. And again, the deployment server is also connected to our Splunk. And finally, our database server. And finally, the database server is also connected to this Splunk. Okay. So now all these things are connected to this Splunk. So all the four servers, whatever the servers we have thought, web server, test server, deployment server, and database server. Okay, all these servers are connected to our Splunk. See, this is now this is happening in a live, in a real time manner. Live it is happening actually. So the data from the web server, or the data from the test server, or the data from the deployment server, or the database server. So all these data is coming into our Splunk on a live basis. So our Splunk is monitoring all the data in the live. Okay. Now what happens on that instance of Splunk? Okay, this is also Splunk. This is the other instance of Splunk. Okay, where it searches. See, for this instance there is separate name, and for this instance there is separate name. Even though they are Splunk only, they are having different names. We will be discussing all those things in subsequent classes. Okay, but in the real-time scenario, I am telling you this. So this is also a Splunk. Okay. So now what does it do? It will searches. The search head is there, right? The search thing is there, right? It will searches. What it searches is searches the data, the centralized data that is available in this Splunk. So whatever the data that is available, whatever the centralized data that is available here, right? It will be searches. Who searches? the end user means this the developer, the Splunk developer, he will be writing some SPL queries. What he will be doing, he will be writing some SPL. This is not SQL, it is not structured query language, it is Splunk processing language. Okay, it is Splunk processing language. I'll be showing in a while. So he will be writing some SPL queries. Okay, based on those SPL queries, the search thing will searches the data over this over the Splunk interface over here. Okay, and then it produces what we are finding now. We are finding some errors, right? We are trying to get some errors over here because the amount has been cut for a particular customer. So we are trying to retrieve some errors from this particular data. Okay, so now we will, what we'll be doing, we will be producing these errors. Okay, in the form of alerts. What is that? In the form of alerts. In the form of alerts, we will be producing this data. So like this, we'll be having some alerts, and these alerts, so whatever it is pertaining to which server, okay, we will be sending to that thing. Actually, we'll be again sending to that particular thing. For example, if this alert is related to this one, okay, we will be sending this data to this one, again to the web server. Or else if the next alert is related to the test server, we will be sending that to the test server. Okay, and again if the another alert is related to the deployment server, we will be sending that to the deployment server. Okay, and finally if some alert is related to database server, we'll be sending to that directly. So all this is happening in live. Okay, all this is happening in live. Now you think, now immediately whatever the data whatever the error it finds, okay, if it finds an error, immediately it alerts. Okay, we will get an alert, the developer will see an alert, and he will be sending it to the, and he will be sending, means he will be configuring like that automatically to send through emails. Okay, like that to the particular departments. Now their life has become easy or not, immediately the problem will be solved, right? So now the organization, see, if the product based organization, the customer satisfaction will be more, right? So this will be the thing actually. So in the see, this is how it is useful in the real-time environment. Okay, not only like this, not only finding errors like this, even we can build beautiful reports, dashboards. Okay, sophisticated reports and dashboards like that. Okay, again for example, if I have to tell, so this is the thing where in the scene scenario, this will be helpful. Actually, this is the actual thing that will be done in this Splunk. All the data, all the log files from the different servers will be there, right? They will be coming to the common place called indexer. They will be, I'll be telling you in subsequent classes, some centralized location called Splunk. Okay, where this data will be stored over here, and the search will be happening from here. Okay, and it searches the data by using some SPL queries written by the developer, and they will be produced as alerts, and these alerts will be sending to the particular department. Okay, in that way the errors can be solved quickly. They will resolve very quickly. Okay, so again consider that, for example, if we have see, if HR department will be there in every organization, right? So again if we consider that we have a web server, we have again test server. And we have again network server. Okay, some network server we have. So now this is connected to the, so all the HR data which is available in all the servers are connected to the this Splunk environment. Okay, connected to this Splunk environment. So everybody is getting right. So everything is clear, right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. If you have
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
you can ask. Yeah. Please again. Please. Earlier it was not. You were not able to mute, right? So now I have called them so that you can mute and talk. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Unmute
sir.
and
Yes.
talk. Sorry. Yeah. Sure. So like this.
Sir, one question.
Excuse me.
Hello. Sir,
Yeah.
one question.
Yeah.
So you said these alerts will be sent back to web server or test server or development server, right? So
Yeah.
how come a developer can read those things and
Yeah. That's what the thing actually. See, actually, whatever the from the web servers and test servers, the log files are coming, right? They will
Yeah.
be indexed at this particular place. They will be stored and indexed. Okay, they will be stored and indexed, and they will be converting all those things. If we can wait for some minute, then I will be showing in the real case scenario where I'll be showing software actually. So
Okay.
actually, they will be indexed. I will be explaining you. They will be indexed. Okay, they will be storing here in this particular place, and they will be indexed, and they will be divided into different fields. Now what this developer do, he will be writing SQL queries based on that fields. He will be converting. See, Splunk will develop, Splunk will use for us some fields automatically, just like in the data. So see, that is was the greatness of Splunk, right? See, just like a database, even though from the raw files, okay, from the files which you consider which are not useful, from log files, it will converts into useful fields which will contains values. Okay, so the developer, what he will do, he will take those fields and he will be writing the query. See, by analyzing the data, right, he will be writing the queries, and then
Okay.
automatically, so for a particular type of query, he will be configuring, and he will be configuring to the particular. See, if this particular error comes, it has to go to this particular again back to the particular web server. So if this comes, if the things comes, it has to be again go back to the particular department. Like that, he configures, he pre-configures all those things. In alerts, all those options will be there. Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
those things we'll be discussing in the development part actually.
Okay.
I will be telling you clearly. Okay, right. That is the thing.
Thanks,
The how the developer does means he will do like that. Whatever the data that will be indexing, Splunk provides everything. Okay, and again we will be also providing fields. I will be telling you. I will be explaining you. Okay, right. Wait for some time, please. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So like this, the test server. Also, these files also come over here, right? So I will be now I will be writing an SQL query for your understanding sake, so that you can understand easily. So now similarly, data from the net server also comes over here. Okay, to this Splunk environment. So again, obviously, our search head will be there, right? So what does it do? Which is under Splunk instance. These are all instances. Okay. Splunk can be used in different instances actually. The main difference between, I will be again telling in the class. I'm telling you again as I want to tell you. So the main difference between ELK and Splunk is that in ELK, you cannot have all these things. What is the purpose of this logging tools? Actually, they will input the data first of all, okay, and secondly they will store the data, and that data thirdly, and that data will be converted into knowledge objects. Okay, knowledge objects means what? Knowledge objects means reports, dashboards, graphs, charts, this kind of things. Okay, so this is the main purpose, right? That is the purpose, right? What is the from the see what is the thing? Organizations have realized that log files will be there as data is growing. Most of log, what will you generally what will you do with log files? Generally anybody can speak. What will you do with log files in an organization? I'm not talking about Splunk. Generally,
By
anybody
using
from
by
program.
use by you yeah by using logs we can find out where is the exact issue. Accordingly, we will fix that one, and end user will be happy. I mean, server will be happy, or whatever it is, database
No.
things.
That is okay. That in this scenario, in generally, if you are in a programming a thing or something else, will you ever consider log files? You won't write generally.
No, sir.
Generally,
Only when error comes or bug comes, only then we will go to log, sir.
you go to logs. Otherwise, we will be deleting from time to time. Okay, right? Otherwise, it will be
Yes.
occupying system space. Yes, that is the thing, right? We will consider those are the not important files like things. Correct or not?
Yeah, sir. By developing, we won't see log, sir. Yeah.
Yes. So from that kind of thing, now you are generating into meaningful information and you are producing. Correct. So that is the thing. So Splunk, now what is the thing is there in ELK, there will be three things actually. That is what the main thing Splunk has grown to that extent. Okay, Splunk has come to the top position. Why? Because the same Splunk can do all these things, whereas in ELK there will be different things will be used. Actually, different tools will be used for storing. It will be used as a different tool. Okay, for searching it will be used different tool. All those things, different tools will be used. Some Elasticsearch will be using, some Logstash it will be using, and Kibana it will be using for graphs and reports, all those things. Okay, for searching it will be using Elasticsearch. Okay, and for storing it will be used Logstash, and Kibana it will be using for generating large objects. So by combining all these things, you have to then generate these things. Whereas Splunk alone will does actually all these things, but we'll be calling it different names in different scenarios. Okay, as we are seeing right now. So this is called as indexer. I'll be telling you in subsequent classes. This is called as a search head. Like that, different things will be. It acts as a different things. The same instance of Splunk. Okay, the same Splunk in different instances. It will be called with different names. Okay, if you are there in the, if are right now you are a student here in office, you will be a employee in office. In a house, you will be a household person, right? So you will be the same person. You will be having different you will be maintaining different roles. Similarly, Splunk will also do the same thing. Okay, so that is the thing actually. So now see, it will be searches like this. Okay, here it will searches all the data which is coming over here, and as I've said, the developer will be writing some SQL queries like this. Say for suppose some index equals to what we call, this is some employee data. Index equals to some EMP data. Okay, so source type equals to some salary data. So I will go for top. EMP ID, EMP name, EMP salary, EMP designation. So like this, we'll be writing queries. Okay, let it be. This should be in a single line. So like this, we'll be writing some queries. What is this index? What is this source type? What is this pipe symbol? I'll be explaining clearly in the later sessions. Okay. So this is the thing. Like this, if we write a query, what happens now? We can generate a report, and based on this report, we can again generate dashboards. Okay. So with employee ID, employee name, salary, employee designation, etc. So all these things we can we can generate. Okay. So again, how will it come? It will come from the whatever the employees having the top salaries in the descending order. It will come actually with this query. Okay. So this kind of reports we can generate. Not only finding errors, some meaningful information, just like how we generate reports using our database, like that we can also generate over here. Okay. So this is the thing. So this kind of reports we can generate over here, and if we give it to the client or the management, it will be he will be very happy, right? So based on the thing, what we consider the information which is not useful, we are giving that information and we are showing it to them, so they will be very happy. Okay. So this is the thing actually. So what happens? What are the data that comes over here? The developer will write a query, okay, to use the data, and meaningful information like graphs, charts, and reports can be developed, and they can be used. Okay, this is the thing actually. So like this, we can develop several reports, several kind of reports using Splunk. And again, if you think that this is the capability of Splunk, you are mistaken again. This is not. If we can do like this, this is mere reporting tool, right? Now it becomes a mere reporting tool. Now what is our main purpose? It analyzes the data and it showcases the errors. Okay, that is the main thing, and it showcases the errors, and it will be on a live basis. Okay, on a live basis, it will be analyzing the errors, and it will be showcasing the errors so that it will be useful for the other departments, and the problem can be rectified within a very short span of time. Okay, that is the thing. So Splunk is useful mainly for that. Okay, right. Now let us go to the software. I will be showing you this. 1 minute. So okay, now we have to. Okay. So this will be this Splunk thing. Actually, I will log in. So this is the software, how it look like. This is the home page, right? Okay, this is the home page. These are the apps. Okay, basically till 8.2.0 version, only the search and reporting app is the default app. Actually, now also it is the default app. But in order to showcase, these are the new apps provided by the Splunk. See, Splunk has again got to the top because of its apps. Okay, just like your Android phones and mobile phones and iPhones will be there, right? So Splunk has got similar, just like your Android phones and mobile phones. How will be having apps? in Play Store, and for Android in Play Store, and in iPhones you will be having iPhone Store, right? So from there we'll be having the apps, right? Similarly, Splunk has got Splunk Base. Okay, what is that? Splunk Base. Splunk has got Splunk Base, where you will be having so many apps, actually more than thousands of apps. See, this is Splunk Base. We'll be having so many apps over here. So this is the reason, this is one of the reason why Splunk has become top. Whereas for the competitors, they don't have, they have also, they will have only minimum. They won't have this much of apps. Okay. So whatever the things are there, you can just plug and play. You can just drop, you can just get it and you can use it. And similarly, you can also develop an app and you can make, and you can use, if you want, you can use for personally, or you can use, you can share it and you can distribute it according to all the users across the world. Okay, so that is the thing where Splunk has come to that extent, actually, where Splunk has come to the top, right? So these are, see, you can go to the apps from here, find more apps thing is there, right? So you can have, you go to the here, see, more than 1,451 apps are there. See, for each and everything, almost all, if not everything, whatever the business requirements is there, for almost all everything, we will be having an app. Okay, so you can get the, you can just install the app and you can use it. So this will be the thing. Okay, this will all explain in the next sessions. Now, so this will be the home page for the Splunk, and if you go to the search and reporting, right? So now this is what I'm talking about. The search bar is there, right? Now if I type some index equals to internal, that means I am searching from my internal index, actually, from my computer. By the way, okay, my computer also stores log files, right? See, if you want to see that, how can we see? Command Shift G. If I type, see, I can go to the where log files. Okay, where log files. See, if you go and see, you can click any of the log files. So you will be having. See, it will be like this in a non-human readable format. Okay. Oh my goodness, it's not even able to process. So like this, it will be. Okay, right. So if I go to internal, that means now it is coming from this internal logs. What are the internal logs are there? So last 24 hours I will put, and I will search it. Okay, see, now what it has done, I have asked Splunk to get the internal logs. Okay, to search the internal logs. Now it has searched my internal logs, and it has broken them down into events. These are all called as what? These are all called as events. We'll be more discussing about all these things in the subsequent classes. Okay, I'm giving a brief. These are all called as the events. Okay, see here, these are the fields generated by Splunk automatically from the logs which are there in my system. It has got already some fields generated for me to use. Okay, now I can use directly those fields. Okay, if I want, I can use directly those fields. Okay, now if I want some errors to be displayed over here, if I simply type some error, so whatever the events contained within the error events will be there. See, all the error events will be displayed for me. All the error events I will get it. Okay, similarly, if I want to see the logins that has happened in my system for 24 hours, for the last 24 hours, if I type login, no event will comes. And if I want some count also, how much logins have been got. So 41 logins within the last 24 hours have been happened. So this is the thing where the real-time scenario comes. For example, this 41 is there, right? So for some time, if it is like that, for after some time, if it has grown abnormally, for example, say some 200 logins are there, some 500 logins are there. So something, there is a wrong, there is a mistake, right? So so something, there is a mistake in any of the hosts. For example, these are the hosts actually. So whatever the things we have now considered, the things for many of the machines, if you have got logs, these things are there, right? So any of the machines, we will check from where the machine we are getting those log, where we are getting abnormally high number of logins. So then we'll be stop that one, and in that case will be, if we are getting, we'll be stop that one actually, because we have identified that it has become easy for us to identify by using Splunk from which instance, from which machine you are getting more number of logs. So this is one of the use case actually. So like this also we can use. And not only this, now we cannot, it has got more capabilities actually. Whatever I have said earlier, right? Whatever the program, whatever the databases have, the same kind of, these are the SQL queries which I'm writing right now. Okay, these are the SQL queries. So the same capabilities, the SQL query will have, just like a SQL queries in Oracle or SQL Server. Okay, even the calculations thing also you can do, even if statements also you can use in this SQL queries. For example, see, if I want some index, if I'm taking an index called okay, some source type, so let me check the events first of all. See, now this is what I'm saying now. Now I'll form a table from this. See, whatever from this particular index and this particular source type, whatever Splunk has given me, these fields. See, I will be using these fields. Some action, status, action field is there. Status will be there. Some bytes, some client type. Okay, it is here. Okay. So now if I run this, see, now the information comes in the tabular format. See, automatically whatever the data available, it does bring me in a tabular format. Of course, some fields are not available, so it has shown as blank. Okay, otherwise this has come, right? So now, even what I have said, even the calculation purposes also we can do using these things. For example, say here itself in the same query itself, if I again write, well, if I use, and these are the commands actually. Eval is a command, okay? Table is a command. Eval some demo bytes equals to bytes plus status, I will say. So if I say like this, see, automatically without disturbing this, see, it has created a field called demo bytes, and it has added the status of bytes, and I've shown you a normal thing actually. It has added something. So even the complex calculations also you can do. I simply shown you a addition thing, okay? And again, even the if statements also you can use over here. The same eval. Eval some demo status, I will say. Demo status equals to if status equals to 200, okay, then I will say success, otherwise I will say failure. Okay, see, now we got a field demo status, success, failure, without disturbing the other fields as well. So like that, whatever the normal what I mean to say is, whatever the normal database operations we will be using, right? If you are some developer or a DBA kind of thing, you will be knowing all these things, right? So whatever the things you are writing over here, you can use this kind of if statements in the queries itself. Here also we can use that. What I mean to say. So that much of sophisticated thing that Splunk provides actually. Okay, even there without having any database directly from the log files itself. Okay, that is the thing. And this can be saved as reports again. This can be saved as a report and we can use it. And again, if you want to, for example, if you want to showcase some product sales like that, product sales, we have got a dashboard which is prepared for product sales. I'll be showing it to you. See, this kind of sophisticated reports, this kind of sophisticated dashboard, a group of reports which are formed as dashboard actually. So all these things we can show. See, this is the overall product sales. This is the thing showing the overall product sales. Okay, this is the location-wise products. Okay, this is the location-wise products. This is the day-wise sales in each country. So this much of information we can bring actually. Okay, this is the sales based on a country, city, and region. Okay, and again this is a report stating location-wise products. Okay, so all these things within in a beautiful manner we can be showcasing to the client as to the or to the management as well. Okay, so these kind of things we can do. These are all called as knowledge objects. Okay, not only this, even Splunk, if you see the internal things also actually something it is automatically generated by Splunk. There will be no guarantee that it will be executing, I think. Okay, something like this. See, even we can have a dashboards like this actually. Okay, see, some are not executing because they are not got ready. Okay, no results has been found. So similarly, this kind of dashboards and all, this kind of sophisticated dashboards we can develop using Splunk. Okay, this kind of dashboards we can develop using Splunk.
Hello, sir. No.
Yes.
This some Java web services can be monitored by these Splunk alerts.
Yeah, sure. Why not? That's what I'm going to say. See, the in the organization, if you ask me, whoever will be using in the organization actually. So everybody in the organization can be used Splunk actually. Nowadays, that is what the requirement of Splunk, right? Now Splunk, why is Splunk becoming so popular nowadays? Everyone, see, if somebody, as you have said right now, if a person using Java, if he wants to find some errors in this application, he can go to the Splunk base and he can get the app pertaining to that one, and he can check the Splunk thing. So now it has become like a tool, common tool, like our PPTs or Excel is there, how it has become. So it has become like that for everyone actually. So according to their use, they will use. They won't be a Splunk specialist if you learn Splunk like you, but they will be using, for their use they will be using Splunk. Okay, so everybody right from the manager onwards. So are you want to say something?
Yeah, we are using on Pulse monitoring tool. Is there any difference with the Pulse and Splunk?
Somewhat
that
difference
also
somewhat difference will be there actually. So without the same operations it cannot be performed, right? So some common similarities will also be there. And some Splunk has become in the market so famous because of its capabilities and extra things rather than the other products, right? That is for sure. ELK, even ELK and Logstash, all those things, it has got more things. That is why the learning curve in Splunk also is more. Why it is more? Because it has got more features. Okay, even though there is no coding, one should not take it light. Okay, so the capabilities are more, and Splunk has got more capabilities and it can do more things. Okay, that is why it has become more famous.
Okay.
So
thank
you have asked this, yeah. So again, that's why everyone can use this Splunk actually in the organization, right? From manager, right, a developer, okay, a tester, and of course Linux admins, all those people. Even though if they are not using to the extent of Splunk admins or Splunk developers, okay, they will be having their own use with this Splunk. Now see, in a few days it will become now itself almost all over 80% of the people are using Splunk in the when in large organizations. it will be literally becoming a tool like Excel, so everybody will be using. Okay, so that will be the popularity for this Splunk. Okay, so when it comes to jobs for Splunk, actually basically we'll be having these jobs, the following jobs for Splunk. What are these jobs? Splunk admin will be there, Splunk developer, Splunk architect. Okay, and in some organizations we'll be having Splunk data onboarding engineer. Okay, so basically you will be having these 4 type of things. Okay, right now in the current job scenario, in the current market, you are having these 4 kinds of jobs. Okay, so this will be the entry level. Okay, so if you have to prepare for these two things. Okay, you should be prepared for these 2 things, admin and developer. Of course, it will be, you will be doing this kind of job easily. Okay, whereas Splunk architect level also, these are the things only, but in a higher note you have to prepare. So in the organization, actually when you have more experience, they will be considering, even though if you go for Splunk architect, who is having more experience. Okay, if people who are having more than 10 experience like that, they will be going for Splunk architect, where in interview and all, the questions asked will be somewhat tricky and different. Okay, but basically these are the 2 things only. Okay, admin and development. Okay, and while going in the organization, then they have to create the entire setup and all, whereas for this person already setup will be done, only data onboarding he has to do. Okay, for less experienced person, this is the things, that is the only difference. Okay, but only you have to get knowledge in both of the things. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, and for 2 to 3 years experienced person, you will be having these things. For more experienced people, you can go for admin, or you can go for developer. And as I said, if you have more than 10 years of experience like that, then you can go for architect level as well. Okay, the only thing is that you should have knowledge. That's it. They are seeing right now at this particular point in time, this is what I can say is, this is the best time. You have taken the right decision. You have congratulations. You have attended for this seminar, for this webinar or workshop. Okay, and you have, that is the right time. You have taken a good decision to you have shown your intention to learn Splunk. That is very good, actually. So this is the right time. So even after some time, it may get stagnant. Okay, the situation stagnant in the sense, the jobs will be there, jobs will not go anywhere forever, but the situation may be different. The competition levels may be increasing. Okay, just like other programming languages and all. Okay, so now what they are considering, they are seeing only whether you have knowledge, whether we can cope up in the organization or not. Okay, that is they are looking into. Okay, that is the thing. So you can prepare well, and you can work hard, and you can easily crack an interview. So if you listen my course, I will be teaching actually admin and development, both the things, in 35 sessions. Okay, in 35 sessions I will be teaching admin and development. Okay, so I will be covering all the aspects, okay, clearly and detailedly. When coming to the admin part, I will be covering right from the installation onwards, both in local system as well as in the AWS cloud. Okay, so in AWS cloud, again I will be using Ubuntu as the flavor, because more organizations use only that. That's why we will also use that. Okay, Ubuntu as the flavor for the Linux system, for Linux environment. That is for the installation part is concerned. And after that, I will be explaining all the configurations for all the components of this Splunk. Okay, there will be basic components like indexer, search head, forwarders. Okay, and clustering components, advanced components like the deployment server, index cluster, searcher cluster, all those things. I will be explaining all the things. Okay, including even clustering environment also. I will be showing in the admin part. All the different servers I will be installing, and I will be showing, and I will be data porting and all I will be showing. Okay, That is the thing for the. And again, when coming to the configuration, I'll be specifying in 3 modes actually. One is from the front end, one is from the command line interface, okay, and third one is the writing configuration files. See, in some organizations actually, they will, when you go for admin especially, they will disable the front end, the thing which we have seen right now. They will disable the thing actually, because only for the developers it is required, right? They consider based on some security issues, they will be disabling this thing. Then you have to work only from the, if you're an admin kind of guy, then you have to work only from the CLI or from the this thing configuration files, okay. So I will be specifying all the modes, 3 type of things as part of the configurations are concerned, okay. And even though if you do not know Linux, no need to worry, I will be specifying the Linux things also, whatever required for our Splunk. In the, while installation, I will in one class I will specifying the Linux commands as well, whatever the so it will be useful both for Splunk as well as for Linux. So even if you do not have Linux knowledge also, no need to worry, I'll be specifying. This is as part as the admin thing is concerned. When it comes to the development thing, I will be specifying regular expressions. See, the fields which we have seen right now, right? Where is that? So I have said you earlier itself, right? So these are the Splunk will generate fields for us, okay. So these are the fields generated by Splunk, okay, automatically. Apart from that, if we find that some useful information from the events generated by Splunk also, for example, say from these events now, see this JSON equals to underscore equals to some this thing is there, right? I consider this thing as a regular event that is coming in all events, for example, say whether it is coming or not for now. So if I consider that this is some useful information and I have to extract this as a field so that I can use it for now my knowledge objects, okay. If I consider like that, then I will extract myself, okay. I will, that is what the development thing comes in. I will be extracting our own fields, okay. So the methods, there are various methods for that, how to extract fields. There are one thing is the regular expression, okay. There are lookups, there are various commands like stats, event stats, stream stats, t stats. All these things are there actually. Event types, macros, all these things are there. Whatever the things, I'll be clearly explaining you how to generate the fields and all, and how to produce the knowledge objects, how to produce the reports, dashboards, which we have seen right now. And then again, dashboards will be having static dashboards as well as dynamic dashboards. Dynamic dashboards in the sense we'll be getting inputs from various things, from time, text, okay, dynamically drop downs, dynamically different kind of whatever the using the dashboards which we do from the programmatic languages, right? Okay, from coding thing, the same thing we can do here also, okay. So all these things, the whatever the complete admin and development part, I will be completely providing, okay. This is the thing actually. And again, I have to say this actually. So kudos to Durgasoft, where they are bringing with a nominal fee, and you can't find this fee bracket anywhere in not in Hyderabad, anywhere in India, okay. This is the good fee bracket. They have very less fees in my opinion, okay. So please utilize it and become a Splunker so that you will be having a good future. That's what I can say, okay. So, and again, while coming to certifications actually, so Splunk certifications. So these are all the certifications available in the Splunk. Splunk Core Certified User, Splunk Core Certified Power User, Splunk Core Certified Advanced Power User, Splunk Cloud Certified Admin, Splunk Enterprise Certified Admin, Splunk Enterprise Certified Architect. Like this, you have got all these things over here. Okay, you can also see from the training.html page of the Splunk official splunk.com. Okay, so the things you can attempt from listening my class actually. you can easily attempting this first Splunk core certified user, Splunk core certified power user. Okay, and see, basically right now in the market, nobody will be asking for certifications. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Tomorrow, if again if more number of people are available, then they will go for certain certifications, just like for AWS and all. For if you apply for a AWS architect job, now they are asking for certifications. Why? Because more people are available for them. Now they are struggling actually for the people. They know people. They want people who knows this. They are the people who can do the things for their environment. Okay, that's what's sufficient for them. So basically, there is no certification right now. But if you want to, for the future things also, if you want to have a certification, if you think that it will be good, you can do it. And after attending the class, you will be having you can easily write these things. Splunk core. See, one thing is for sure. Once after completing the sessions, you can easily crack the interview. That I can tell for sure. Okay. Once after listening my class, you can crack the interview easily. And next, certifications depends on the perspective. Okay, you have to think at that particular in a different perspective note. You have to think and you have to attempt the questions, right? Just like for example, say if a normal IP is there and MSET is there or IIT is there. So what is the difference? The same concepts will be taught, right? The level of the concepts, how much strong you are in the concepts, that is the matter. How much strong you are in the concepts and how you apply the concepts in different things. Okay, that's matter actually. There your knowledge comes out, and that is the things. So you can crack the certifications as well. Okay, so Splunk core certified user, Splunk core certified power user, advanced power user also you can write, and cloud. These 4 things, and the first 5 things, especially out of the if you leave the 4th one, the first 5 things you can easily attempt. Okay, so remaining are the advanced things where you have to go for the Splunk security. These are all different segregated in different fields actually. Splunk security certified admin, IT service intelligence again. Okay, core certified consultant also there is a certification, and phantom certified admin. These are all separate things actually. So you should, if you want to get separate expertise in those areas, then you can. Then there is no trainings also, and they are not available actually. In my view, actually, good trainings are also not available. You have to, and again, if you want to practice Splunk, it is a free tool actually. It is not a free tools. For example, if ITSI or SIEM, these are not free tools. You have to pay and you have to use actually. So this is the thing. So if you do certifications, even in this, this is more than sufficient. If you have certification, it is well and good. Okay, it is great actually. And even though if you have knowledge, even though if you are not perfect, at least if you are good, you can easily crack a job in today's situation. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, so any questions? Hello.
Yes, sir, audible, sir. Sir, what would be the fee structure, sir, and timing, sir?
You can ask the management. The timing will be tomorrow from 8 p.m.
Night 8.
Yes.
Sir, 8 to what time, sir?
8 to 9.
Okay.
Sir, it's weekend classes or regular weekdays?
Weekdays.
Weekdays. Okay.
It will be online or
Online only. It will be online. It will be online.
And when are those starting?
Tomorrow onwards. From tomorrow onwards,
Okay.
8 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, any timing change, sir? I mean, 8
What
p.m.
is that?
8 p.m. Any timing change? I thought 10 a.m. every day.
No, it's from 8 p.m. only. Anyhow, you can ask the management. Okay, Durgasoft management will be there, right? So you can speak with them. Okay.
And one question: is it for open source for organization, or it will be cost for them?
No, it is licensed tool. That's what, right? Splunk. See, it is a good interview question as well. Splunk is what are the disadvantages of Splunk? They'll ask for freshers and all. Okay, so there are 2 things. One is it is a licensed tool, and the learning curve is more. Okay, so that is the disadvantage of Splunk. So even though all the other competitors are free tools, just you have told, the other tools are even though it is ELK, Logstash, okay, or something other else. So these are all free tools, but even though it is a paid tool, Splunk has grown to that extent. Then see how much useful it is. Okay, so this is the thing.
Sir, time duration?
So 35 sessions. I'll be taking 35 sessions.
Okay.
Now we have seen one error in last 24 hours now. Like how many days we can see any error? I mean, last 6 months until last 1 year,
Yeah,
we can
we'll be
change
having several
things.
presets. We'll be having several presets. We can be changing like that. We can have for 6 months. We can have whatever the thing. But the thing is that from all the time also we can see. But in production environments we should not use like that. Most probably we'll be using 1 day or 24 hours or 1 week like that only. Because see, second by second the data will be growing there, right? Even 24 hours is also a large amount of thing. Otherwise the system will crash down. Okay. So we will be discussing all those things in the class. Okay. So I'll be telling you.
Hello, sir.
And
Yes.
now you said about we have Splunk admin and Splunk developer. So which course we need to prefer? I mean, we will cover both of here.
You are talking about certifications?
No, sir. Actually, I'm from DBA, so I need to learn Splunk developer also or not?
Yeah. That's what again. You have asked a good question actually. So see, in the market, nobody will cover all the two both things at a time. So now I'll be covering admin as well as development, both the things. Okay, here. If we join the course, that will be both for admin as well as development. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, from fresher point of view, is it good?
Huh?
From fresher's point of view, is it good, Splunk?
Yeah, it's also good for freshers as well. Only thing is that if you have 2 years of experience, that is sufficient. If you have once after BTech or your graduation, if 2 years is there, that is sufficient.
Okay. So because I am previously I was in network support. So is it good for me?
Yeah, it is quite relevant for you. From network,
Okay.
if you consider, yeah, that is easy considering.
Okay.
Sir, one more thing. If Splunk generating that log files, right? That log files having Splunk separate database or just application server? It can produce.
Yeah. Yes. So see, the log files, where the log files will be? The log files will be at the client location. Okay. So now we cannot perform with the client location. These are the live servers, right? We cannot perform our operations live. Okay. If you do some searching operations, parsing operations, indexing operations over there, it will crash down. Okay. So that's why we will be getting that, and we'll be taking into the common location to our Splunk environment. Okay. So now what Splunk it is doing is it just brings the data to its location, just like a staging server. If you are a developer, so production server will be different, staging server will be different, right? So whatever the model, if you want to change some code, what will you do? You will do directly on production. You will be getting that into the staging server, right? Then you will be modifying there,
Yeah.
and then you will be doing these things, right? And then you will be again making up into the production server. Similarly, here this is just like it is not a, we should not call like that, but the data will be brought into the Splunk environment where the data will be indexed and all those parsing, indexes, routing, all those operations will be performed, and then we will be producing reports. But that in that way we don't disturb the client servers at all. Okay, we don't disturb the client servers at all, and we will be bringing to it our location. Okay, even though the data is live, it will be transferring to our location. Understand?
Okay. That all the logs data only it monitor, right? I mean that Splunk or application.
Whatever log files are there, whatever the system generated files are there. See, Splunk can monitor any type of files, even CSV files. Okay, system generated files. Only apart from, if I have to say, apart from images and PDF, whatever the file you specify, JSON format, HTML format, CSV format. Okay, log files, everything Splunk can monitor, and it can index, and it can produce data out of it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, any more questions?
Sir, you'll be teaching the SQL and all, sir, like how to fetch data, how to analyze logs.
Yeah, the admin part will be doing that only, right?
Yeah, sir.
See, I will be in admin part. I will be see this type of setups. This type of setups I will be showing to you. Okay, in the real time. This is called as the distributed environment. So I'll be showing this type of setups. Different indexes will be having different search heads. All those things, deployment server, all those things, and how it routes our data routing. So using load balancer, how to use load balancer for large type of data if you are getting. Okay, clustering environment, what is clustering environment, how to use that one, all those things I'll be showing. Okay, even such a cluster also all those things I'll be showing. Clear?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So anything else? So shall we wind up the session now, or anybody having any doubts?
Sir, one last doubt. Sir, is there any some Groovy, that scripting, that kind of knowledge required for this?
Nothing is required. No prerequisites are required for this. The only thing is that, as I have shown you, the SQL queries, and that also it will be very simple, and I will be clearly
Simple.
explaining that. Okay, it will be very simple, and I will be
Okay.
clearly explaining that. See, writing SQL queries, writing regular expressions, writing cron jobs also I will be specifying you. Okay, so all
Okay.
these things I'll be specifying in detail. See, the course even in other in outside they will be taking only 20 to 25 sessions like that, but my course content will be 35 sessions. Okay, in the website, whether the management has uploaded or not, I do not know. I have uploaded with them. If they have uploaded, it's well and good. Otherwise, you can take it from them. So the course content will be like that. It will go beyond that, but it won't go less than that. Okay, that will be the type of explanation I will be doing. So you would have seen, right? I will be, if I'm discussing a topic, I will be going in deep. Actually, whatever the things I feel good, whatever things I know, I'll be definitely specifying you, irrespective of the time. Okay, that is the teaching method of mine.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, the recorded sessions will be provided, or only live sessions?
I think so. Recorded sessions will be provided. Recorded sessions will be provided. Anyhow, you inquire the management once. Okay.
Okay.
Management will be providing. They have told me that they will provide, but you can inquire. They will be providing, in my view, they will be providing, but you can confirm with them once.
Okay, sir.
Okay.